We often hear that masturbation is perfectly normal, but how much is too much? When does it cross the line into addiction? And what happens when you can't stop? Today, we'll dive into these questions and explore why you should reconsider this seemingly harmless habit that could be undermining your life. Before we start, I want to address the dramatic cover. Yes, it was meant to grab your attention because this is a serious issue affecting many young people and adults. This video will explain what happens in your brain from both scientific and philosophical perspectives, including insights from Stoicism on how to approach this behavior. Medicine today generally agrees that masturbation is normal, not just in humans but in other mammals too. However, this wasn't always the case. Historically, masturbation was considered immoral, particularly for men, as it was believed to waste semen that could otherwise be used for reproduction. For women, it was thought to distance them from men by allowing them to find pleasure independently. To this moral stigma was added a physical one, with claims that masturbation could lead to illness, making it a taboo practice. But let's focus on the present. What do we know about masturbation today, especially for those who struggle with insomnia? It's widely recognized that it can induce sleep. Research from the French Institute of Health and Medical Research has shown that after orgasm, the male brain deactivates sexual desire, leading to sleep. This happens because the cerebral cortex, the part of the brain responsible for conscious thought, shuts down once a man climaxes. This deactivation, which also reduces the desire for further sexual activity, is what often leads men to fall asleep afterward. So, what's the problem? Hidden within this benefit is a significant risk. Frequent masturbation triggers the release of dopamine in the brain, a hormone that makes us feel good, reduces stress, and provides a sense of reward. However, this can be so pleasurable that it leads to addiction. The Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders even includes hypersexuality disorder, which categorizes excessive masturbation as a form of obsessive-compulsive behavior. This addiction can have devastating effects, not just mentally but also on relationships, leading some to seek more extreme forms of sexual gratification. The real danger lies in how our brains adapt to this dopamine release. Over time, your brain will crave more and more dopamine to achieve the same level of pleasure, pushing you to masturbate more frequently. This can reach a point where your brain, in an effort to protect you, starts blocking dopamine receptors, leaving you feeling unsatisfied no matter how often you engage in the act. This can lead to frustration and a never-ending cycle of seeking more extreme forms of pleasure, much like what happens with other addictions such as smoking or alcohol. Now, you might be wondering how Stoicism ties into all this. The Stoics, Seneca, Marcus Aurelius, and Epictetus, were masters of self-control and wisdom. They viewed pleasure and lust not just as physical acts but as opportunities to explore the limits of the body and mind. For them, masturbation wasn't just about carnal satisfaction. It was a test of self-awareness and a path to true freedom. According to Epictetus, what sets a good person apart is not the pursuit of pleasure, but self-control. Stoicism teaches that mastery over our desires is essential for a meaningful life. Instead of being slaves to our impulses, we should be their masters. This philosophy isn't about repressing desires but about understanding and controlling them, directing our emotions in a way that leads to personal growth and inner peace. The Stoics believed that every action has consequences, not just for ourselves but for the greater natural order. When we give in to intense desires like uncontrolled masturbation, we lose our connection with this natural harmony and become prisoners of our impulses, far from the inner serenity we seek. Compulsive masturbation can lead to emotional turmoil, with guilt, shame, and dissatisfaction becoming constant companions. The Stoics encourage us to face these emotions through introspection and self-regulation, finding peace within ourselves rather than through fleeting pleasures. True satisfaction, they teach, comes from living according to our deepest principles and values, not from indulging in momentary desires. Let me share a personal story. I know someone who struggled with compulsive masturbation, seeking temporary relief but finding only emotional turmoil afterward. By embracing Stoic teachings and practicing self-control, they underwent a profound transformation. They learned to confront their desires consciously, finding genuine joy in self-discipline. Today, they live a life of inner peace, free from the slavery of fleeting pleasures. True happiness comes from living in alignment with our values, not from chasing after temporary satisfactions. Compulsive behavior can distract us from our highest goals and lead us away from the true contentment found in virtue and inner peace. By practicing mindfulness and meditation, we can cultivate the mental clarity needed to resist temptations and manage our emotions in a healthy way. Compulsion, especially in the form of masturbation, becomes a barrier to this serenity, dragging us into regret and distancing us from the calm that self-control can bring.